Good morning. Welcome to your mats, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello, good morning, and welcome to your mats. So welcome to Hard Yoga, quarantine style. We are going to be doing our Sunday yoga flow class. And what more can I say? We're doing our Sunday yoga church is what we call it for those that come to the studio. For those of you that are new, we call it church because it's our time to kind of reconnect to the source, to God, to Allah. It's indifferent. It's as simple to come to your, whatever your beliefs are. It doesn't matter. They're, like I said, they're indifferent. And maybe that kind of helps people understand why I have Buddhas all over. I've got Buddhas all over my on my body even, and it represents to me that all are welcome. I have also a Buddha in here. Buddha's all over the studio. For those of you that know that, somebody tried to count them once they gave up. And it's a Buddha, Buddha sitting in the meditation or prayer, and he has wings, big angel wings, and obviously, if you really think about that, those two things really don't coexist, right? Buddhism and more Catholic or Christianity, if you will. And it was a perfect representation of the studio, and it represented that it didn't matter. Faith is faith, and the guidelines that are followed in almost all religions. If you take all those things that are your favorite parts, like aspiring just to be better within your own self, with your own being, those type of things, you'll see that they're all the same, that we all share all those things. And it's super cool. So when we call it church, it's a time, when you turn and you say hi to your neighbors and you start to kind of step outside your shell. And it allows us to open up and bridge, again, these lower chakras to these upper middle chakras. And it allows us to bridge our heart, our compassion, and be able just to see beyond the scope of what our day-to-day life is, because it's too easy to get trapped onto that. So we're going to come into our mats into a seated position. Simply come on down to your mat. And as you come on down to your mat, come into anything that's comfortable. Unless seating is not comfortable, then I suggest anything that feels good to you. You could be on your back with your feet on the floor. You could be on a child's pose with your knees on the floor and your forehead down. But all we're going to do is take a moment here to kind of reconnect to our breath. And it's the first step in yoga that bridges, the conscious mind and the thinking mind, and I call it the busy bees, to the subconscious mind. And if you want to kind of wrap your brain around that, if you think about, like if you were to get cut, and that cut just started to slowly bleed, and you're like, oh my goodness, I want that to heal. You could sit here and will it all you want, and you can. There's power in that, but you're not like physically feeling your body send blood in there. You're drawing attention perhaps in your mind, but the breath is different. Like the breath, you can be like fast, slow, quick. It just kind of rolls all over the place with you. You can totally control it, and yet, let's say you were to pass out. Just say you passed out cold for whatever reason. It certainly wasn't because you drank too much. It certainly was not that. But let's say you passed out and you're not conscious, and the body has this unique ability to continue breathing for you, right? It's going to keep you alive, and it breathes. So when you direct that breath, it kind of moves you in and out of consciousness, subconsciousness. You can kind of control these two worlds. It's the only kind of real bridge that we have there. So as you come down to your seated position, you should also already be finding your breath. If you're able to draw your chin down, and then just feel the back of your neck grow long. The hands can be at the heart center. They can be on top of your knees. I like them on the knees. Some people in the, just on their seat with the hands just gently crossed. And then as you're there, draw the heart forward, roll the shoulders back. And we'll take just a few more deep breaths here, not many. And as you're doing these deep breaths, you're thinking about the breath slowing down, and it's moving to about 6 counts in, 6 counts out. 6 counts in, 6 counts out. These bodies are perishable, but the dweller in these bodies is eternal. The Bhagavad Gita. Most vegetables and fruit grow within a covering that must be peeled away if the sweetness and the ripeness is to be eaten. There are many ways this speaks to the human journey, but perhaps one of the most important involves the way in which who we are grows within the covering of our will. We often pursue curiosity by wrapping them in a grand design and ambitious within us. However, it is important to remember that just as corn cannot mature unless it's covered for months by its husk, we need to incubate who we are within layers of who we might yet become. And there's nothing wrong with this. We're going to take about 3 more breaths and then we get moving. Most things in life need a protective container in order to grow. We can hurt ourselves, though, when we keep that fruit that is us covered too long. We can go bad. We can begin to spoil within if we stay encased in old plans. Once who we are inside has matured, and perhaps when we move or change careers or relationships, we are trying to free ourselves of all that has covered us, even if it has helped us grow. And although we may come to realize that it may be our way of loving that needs to be shed, and not so much who or what we care. So as you contemplate that, those are the words of Martin Poe in the Book of Awakening. Think about kind of your old patterns. And it's a really good place to think about because the universe has this very unique ability to keep showing you those things. So the things that you're dwelling on, think about it. When you want to buy a red car, you just bought a red car and there's red cards everywhere. Okay, the subconscious mind, it will keep being shown to you over and over and over. Because that's what you're putting out into the universe, urging to be worked through. So think about the coverings that maybe once protected you and maybe that are not so much serving you maybe anymore. And don't come up to conclusions right now, just contemplate. And as we take our way into tabletop, we're going to come into a standing position. So simply unravel where you are and then tuck your toes. We're going to press back into a downward facing dog. There, feel your hands kind of spread out with fingers and up towards the top of the mat. Feel your feet really walk back and the tail shift up. You want to use most of your mat, okay? And from there, the arms and the legs are straight. And if they aren't, they're as straight as you are struggling too much. You have to struggle. And stay here if you can for about 3 more breaths. So with what I exactly just said to you with yoga and the universe showing you, what you need to deal with, yoga shows you in your body the same thing. And that's our first lesson in understanding the greater meanings of this stuff. So in your bodies, as you're moving through, notice what your body is showing you. Don't look at it like a gripe or oh no, and here's my hip again, and oh my lower back, and poor me. Yeah, it all sucks. Totally sucks. But get over the dialogue. You don't need to keep repeating that shit because all you're doing is you're putting it back into the universe and it's going to mirror it right back to you. So if your poor back is hurting all the time, it's going to keep that way until you deal with it. So I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't make those decisions for you. But what you need to just take a look at is what's being shown to you by yourself because that's you. So now let's take one more moment and then we're going right into dialogue. I don't talk too much about this stuff as we're going through, but just contemplate that truth. What is it looking like in your life? Because I think the universe and God has given us all this great gift to do just that. We all get this reset right now. What do you need? What can you shed? It was good. It was good for a while. What do you need anymore? Now slowly walk towards the top of your mat. And as you get to the top of your mat, just walk up there. Walk nice and slow. And I'm going to undress you. I got to get this without taking my microphone. Okay, so when you get to the top of your mat, you're in a forward fold. And if you're not, you're in a forward fold. Bend your knees and place your hands onto the floor. So for my new friends, I couldn't touch the floor. I could barely get down there when I first started yoga. So please know that this is a progress. It's a work in progress. Some people are naturally flexible, some are not. Some are broken, some are injured. Tra-la-la, 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 tra-la-la. Yeah, it sucks. You know what? Now figure out how to get into this. Figure out how to make it work for you. Because that is your character, and that is your will, and that is your strength. Or you just curl up and die. Stay in a little ball. Now, as you're there in a forward fold, let's take another breath. Here we go. We're rolling your face, so they're an extension of you. Now, from here, pull them back. And if you look from the side, right, back, back, back. So I'm trying to get my neck and shoulders. This may have caused you to rotate forward. So pull back, pull back, pull back. Good. Now bring your hands as close together as you can. Maybe you can get them to touch. Maybe it's not working. Maybe you're like this. Again, yes, that would suck, but figure it out. How can you do as close to what I'm doing on your own? You can do it. The ruby slippers, click, click, click. All right, now reach up. Now keep your arms with your ears, please. Can you gently move into a back bend just by pushing your hips forward without moving anything else? Because this is the back bend I want you to do. To go deeper, you just continue to push your hips. So my arms stay with my ears. Now forward bend the same way. Let's do it slow. The tail goes back. You can bend your knees if you need to, because if you can't keep your arms with your ears, that's what you would need to do. Bend the knees. Hands are to the floor. You're back to your forward fold. Again, it could look like this if your knees are bent. Step your right leg to the back of your mat. I'm going to step up because I wasn't all the way up there. Drop your knee. Now, bring your hands to your knee, because if you need to modify, you'll have to do that. Then bring your arms up. Let's reach up and out of your body for 3. Lift up out of your heart for 2. Now bring the hands to the mat. Step all the way back. Chaturanga, elbows in, gaze up, lower half or less if that's too much. If you're like, it's all too much, drop your knees. It's totally fine. Now up dog, if you are still with me in that chaturanga. If you're on the ground, you're just lifting up with your knees down. That's really the only difference, except it's actually deeper because you're deeper in the back versus in the core here. Now lift back to down dog, lift your hips up and press them to the sky. Your feet are about hip width apart. The hands are shoulder width apart. It feels like you're this gigantic V, and you're trying to be the sharpest V you can make with your tail, pushing it way up to the sky. The hip bones are pressing way, 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 way back to the thighs, which is getting right underneath the seat of your pants, right underneath that glute. And then we can kind of change what we want to do in this, right? Now, take the right leg, step it to the top of your mat. Drop the left knee to the floor and bring your hands to your right knee. Now, even though I'm cueing right, 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 left is like, what about left? This is left. We go up, so it's the opposite. Arms come up, arms with ears. I don't want them back here. I don't want them way here. I want them with my arm, head. Then lift up. That way the spine comes as one unit. Now bring the hands to the floor. Drag the back foot up. Uttanasana is a forward fold. Then we do that 5 more times. Here we go, a little quicker. Inhale, back bend, arms with ears. Exhale, forward bend, arms with ears. Right leg back, knee down, back bend, reach. Step back to chaturanga, high to low push-up. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog, push back. Right leg drags up, left knee comes down, back bend here. Hands to mat, drag back foot up, forward fold, Uttanasana. 4 more, here we go. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, forward. Right leg, knee down. Step back to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right foot up, left knee down, back bend. Step up, forward fold, Uttanasana. Let's do that 3 more. Here we go. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, forward bend. Right leg back, knee down, back bend. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot up, left knee down, back bend. Step up, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, roll up, back bend. Exhale, forward. Right leg back, knee down. Step back, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot up, left knee down, back bend. Step up, Uttanasana. One more, please. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, forward bend. Right leg back, knee down, back bend. Step back, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right foot up, left knee down, back bend. Hands to mat, step up, Uttanasana. Good. Now inhale, halfway lift, look up, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, surrender. Inhale, roll up, mountain, come up. Exhale, forward fold, hands through heart. Lift the left foot up, look up. Pause, inhale, breath, frame your hips. Exhale, step back, drop, knee down. Release the foot, crescent moon, back bend, lift. Now we're going to hold here for 4 to 5 breaths. If this becomes too intense for you, because as we lunge into that knee and hip, we're deep in that hip. The core then becomes softer as the primary now is in that hip. So we have to think about the thighs almost pulling towards each other to stabilize and ground you. You want to feel like the right heel and the left knee are pulling a little together. Then when you've got that strength here in the lower body, you're going to be free to lift up. So it's pretty light in the ribs. It's light in the heart. The head isn't usually dropped all the way back. It's usually looking wherever your fingers are pointing. So I'm going to look where my fingers are. Where they reach to the sky, that's where the gaze is. And then just kind of find it into that back bend. Don't worry so much about the depth of it. Try to find your grace, which is stillness. And if it's shaking, that's pretty normal. Let your body tell you. Let it show you what it needs you to see. Now take the arms, reach it forward. See how your belly's like right on your thighs here? Place the hands down on the floor and keep your belly on your thigh. Keep it there, and try to straighten your right leg out. Try not to move your hips past the left knee. The right hip will likely be forward here, so you're going to try to spin it back. So right hip, glute, back and away. Right hip, back and away. Left hip, forward and down. Now, when you get there, I'm leaning to one side. I know right away I've got an injury, so my sides are totally off. I have to really, really look at it. So look at your body here. What is it telling you? If you're way over heavy on one side, is your fingers, hands even? For people using props, you could place a block on either side of each hand. It'd have to be 2 blocks there for this to work because you're moving the ground up so that you don't have to come down so far. That way the weight doesn't dump into your back if you're really, really tight, right? Because if you're really tight, you can't find the floor. So then your back bends to find the floor. My back didn't bend. My belly was on the thigh. So then that leg can straighten out more. Not that I'm super flexible here, but you want to think about what your body is trying to tell you. So this isn't a race to flexibility. Unlike, a lot of popular forms of yoga, it becomes kind of like almost a competition. And people are, always trying to outdo. Don't really know they're doing it. It's, subconscious. You try to get in there and I was there. I know exactly because I lived that. I'm not judging. I'm just telling you what I went through. And then when you kind of let that shit go, then what happens is as the body awakens and opens up and you're able to receive more. And by letting go, you were able to really find a lot more depth. So take your final breath and just kind of feel it let go. You should melt more when you do that. Now bend the right knee. Good. Tuck the back toes, lift it up. Good. Let's step up to a forward fold and then just kind of shake it out back and forth as best you can. Place the weight into the left foot, lift the right one up. Oh, if you can. Ooh, that baby is like, ooh, what did you do to me? So now let's lift it up and kind of frame the hip. I'm moving it around just because I like to get that heart to just get a little more blood here. Let's kind of bring it up there because it's feeling. Float it all the way to the back of your mat here. And you get there, yep. All the way back, drop that knee, release the foot. Here we go, crescent moon with the back bend. Now lift and reach up. So arms are with ears. You're in this a little bit quicker, so it'll feel a little shorter. So now that the arms are with the ears and you're lifting and reaching past your body, see if you can feel the thighs squeezing together. Feel your right knee dragging down, your left heel pulling back. Do you feel that? You want to go too much. You want to go, yeah, and you put all this energy in your lower body because now you're not balanced. It's not. We need to kind of bring in and balance these efforts and these surrenders. So my effort is my lower body. It's always a good rule of thumb that I can't usually do any pose unless I've found where it's grounding me. Roots deep into the ground. Feel your feet come down like there's roots holding you. Even if you tip over, those roots are going to pull you back. Now lift out of your ribs. Now find the freedom with the gaze. If you're getting good at this, close your eyes. Find the breath. Then look for the easy in the hard. The yin to the yang. Know that you're going to be fine. Take one more breath and reach back. Now this is where your belly goes on your thigh. And we're here for a little bit for this hamstring and then we get moving pretty quickly. You're going to push all the way back until the hip is right over that right knee. Okay, so this is the left hamstring and it could be different for you like it's me. Just be here, maybe shake your butt out because what you're going to notice is your body is already shifting where it's like, no, don't go there, instead of finding where it's actually balanced. So it's going to dump back into the familiar place. So if there's water trickling down the side of a mountain for many years, it's going to create a groove. So anytime the rain falls, the water's going to go down that groove. So yoga is trying to create a new groove in the right place where that water needs to flow so that everything's right with its environment. But in order to do that, we're going to have to slowly start kind of chiseling that new path. And as we're chiseling that new path, go ahead and take your breaths now and start to notice what you're doing with the left foot. Does the toe want to point? Does it want to pull up? Do you want to push to your knee? I don't advise you come back to here. That's actually cheating. You're not doing much here. Okay. If it's so tight you can't be here, usually I just have you bend the knee more and then chip away at it. You chip away at the right spot. I keep needing to take this earring out. It's tapping against the microphone. Hopefully you guys couldn't hear that. All right. So now you're here. I would try closing the eyes and see if you notice the body trying to favor or move to one side. That way you can identify where your groove is. Then as you push the left butt cheek back, the left hip back, bring your right hip forward and down. And that's why I just shake your butt out, because you can feel the hips moving there. And then you can kind of let that surrender meet you in that effort. Where can you find the stillness? Where can you find the soft? That is the opposite end of the hard. Because right there in the middle, that's where we're going to meet. And if you think about it in those terms, then yoga makes perfect sense. If you have strength, just strength, your strength, what is its opposing? Flexibility. So if you have flexibility, its opposing action is strength. So if you're flexible, you don't focus on flexibility in yoga, you focus on strength. And if you're strong, well, you are kind of forced to work on flexibility if you're strong. You don't have a lot of choices. It makes you see that first. It's usually the flexible people have a harder time with yoga, honestly. It's hard to not go into those poses deep when you can. All right, now we're going to bend that left knee. I don't know what this is going to look like on me today, you guys. Mine's on fire already. I haven't done much. All right, we're going to tuck the back toes. And then lift that back knee up. Drag your back foot to meet your front foot. Here we are. Now we're going to put together a Surya Namaskar V. So just inhale breath and roll up. And let's go into that back bend because it's coming together pretty quick. Exhale breath is a forward fold. Take it slow. Arms are with the ears. All right. Halfway lift. Look up, flat back. Then step back to plank. Look up for a chaturanga. Elbows are in. Inhale breath to upward facing dog. Lift. Shoulders are back. Knees are up. Exhale, breath is down dog. Lift your hips, use your core, pull yourself back. Inhale, breath, right leg to the sky, lift it up. Exhale, breath, foot between the hands, low lunge. Drop the knee, crescent moon, back bend. Inhale, reach up. Good. Now exhale, breath, airplane arms. Bring the back knee off the floor. Hold your arms in place, move the weight into your right leg. And if you want to layer up, we're moving into an airplane, although you could just stay back with your arms back. From here, we're either staying put or bringing our arms out to a capital T. So see if you can get there. It's easier if you think about pulling your arms apart and pushing your chest down to the floor. Then you can bring that left hip down more to balance. It should feel lower than it should to really, truly balance. When we land, we're going to bend our right knee and try to get your left toe to the back of your mat. So reach, 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 reach. Get it? Drop the heel. Now circle the arms straight up. Palms together, Virabhadrasana 1. So warrior 1, the arms frame the head. You can interlace the fingers to steeple if the hands are together. They might not be. We're going to take a moment to push out of the right leg. Keep your right foot forward. Keep your left foot just like it is. If it's positioned properly, it should be slightly turned to the left, just a hair. Don't move the foot either. I don't say that a lot, so don't do it. Now with your feet where they are, turn your hips as far to the left as you can without changing your feet. Without changing your feet. Now, exhale, sink into the knee and look forward. Deeper. Do it again, now fast. Back, forward, back. Ooh, do that pop. Forward, it was pretty loud. Back, forward. Oh, and I had a huge pain in my left inner thigh and it went away. All right, now get in there and now hold. Here's your warrior 1. So beautiful. Hips are framed. Shoulders are framed. Hips are framing. Now slowly reach forward. Keep your chin lifted. Reach through your arms like you're being pulled forward and someone else is trying to pull that left heel back. Airplane the arms, pull them behind you. Lift them up pretty high and then frame your hips more. Squeeze the knees in more. This is where you bring your hands together. Notice which thumb you chose to be outside because you'll switch it up. Then humble warrior, bring the arms up, let the head back. My shoulder's resting on my knee, and I think that's a pretty safe place for most people. My really flexible friends and their hips could probably come down into the inside of it, but just gauge it because it's harder to come out of it when you go deep into that hip. If you're on top of it, you're more in the quadricep. When you're inside of it, you're more in the hip joint. Changes. Now to come up, we're just going to lift up. Push out of your right leg. Don't do anything with your arms. Just leave them like that. Up. Now, with your hands intertwined, pull your left arm behind you. So this right arm just pulls it over and kind of wraps around my waist. Good. Now sink back into your knee. Release the hands and just bring the right arm up. Reverse warrior. Feel your left arm press into your back, wherever it is for you. Lift out of your ribs to the sky and then sink into your knee for 30. Stay calm. 2. Exhale, breath, frame your right foot, step back to plank, high to low push-up. Knees up or down. Inhale, breath to upward facing dog, lift your heart. And exhale, breath, downward facing dog. Inhale, breath, left leg to the sky. Exhale, breath, step between your hands, low lunge. Right knee to mat, release the foot, crescent moon. Layer in a back bend if you can. Lift your heart, arms with ears. Reach forward. Pull the right knee up by tucking your back toes. Pull the arms up. Draw them long so the elbows are straight. Sink into the knee and frame your shoulders. Move the weight into the left foot. And if you'd like to or can, lift to airplane. So this one may be a little bit tricky for me. So here you're holding. Now, my body, I can show you really good what you're going to do to compensate because this feels really good to me because my hamstring's more neutral where the injury is. But in order to bring that hip down, you'll see it's going to be really hard for me to do. That hip has to go way, 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 way down. And then you're reaching through those wrists, forward through the neck and back like someone's pulling that heel back. Now, if you can, bring the arms out to a capital T. If you need to bend the left knee, you also could do that. It would work. Because we're getting out of it that way. So as you reach your right toes to the back of your mat, reach, 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 drop the heel, warrior 1, come up. Now push out of the leg, twist your hips, don't move your feet, you already know this one, and then sink into that knee. And let's do it. 4, sink, back 3, sink, 2, 1. Let's go. Warrior 1. So this right hip is pushing forward. This left hip is going back. My right knee and hip forward and down. The back knee feels like it's so strong. It's locked out, but it's pliable, right? There's some bend and flex to it. And then as you sink into that knee deeper, reach towards the sky. Virabhadasana. Reach forward through those arms. Keep your shoulders and hips framed. Drop the arms back. Lift them up. Shoulders back. Reach, reach, reach. Like someone grabs your wrist and then they start pulling it back. Interlace the opposite finger out this time. And are you ready? Humble warrior. Shoulder on knee, arms up. Shoulder inside knee, head drops. I'm going to go above the knee, squeeze the knees in, and just lift the arms as best. You may be over here. Your palms might not come together. If you want to try working on it, just relax the arms and try bringing them together before bringing them up. You're here for 3. Stay calm, stay calm. 2. Your arms stay intertwined, okay? So don't do anything with the arms. Just kind of forget about them and let them drop down to your tail. Now push yourself up. Good, and out of that left knee. We won't go out of the left knee moving forward. So from here, take your right hand with your left hand and pull it over there. So we're getting rid of all that space from the anterior deltoid. The problem is the anterior deltoid where your rotator cuffs are. It's trying to protect you from your arm falling out of its socket. So it's kind of an important job. All right, now sink into that knee. Put more weight in your back leg. Put more strength in your back knee. Now release the hands. And just the arm that's in front, reach it to the sky. Now lift up. Your back arm is a guide. It kind of tells your back, hey, you can't go that far. So I've got that support, so I'm all in side body. This is all my side of my waist that's doing this, not your back. Exhale, breath, frame your foot. Back heel needs to come up to bring your hips down. Step back to plank, high to low push-up. All right, tutti fruttis, let's do this. Inhale, up dog. Let's put together. That's the whole thing. That's the mama jama, the mama jamma. That's the bees to the knees. It's the pearl in my jam. It's the Alice to my chains. Let's go back to downward facing dog. Here we go. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Exhale, 2 low lunge step through. Inhale, crescent moon, back bend. Exhale, airplane arms, knee up. Take off, capital T, airplane. Frame your hips. Soft landing, bend knee, Virabhadrasana. 1. Exhale, 2 airplaned arms, interlace fingers. Exhale into humble warrior bow. Inhale, lift up, release hand, reverse warrior. And exhale, chaturanga, high to low push-up. All right, inhale, breath to upward facing dog. Ready, left side, downward facing dog. Here we go. Left leg lifts, inhale your breath. Exhale through low lunge right now. Drop that knee moon, back bend, lift. Good, airplaned arms back, knee up. We're gonna get rid of that part next. Take off, airplane, capital T. Soft land, warrior 1, arms up. Airplaned arms, grab your fingers here. Reverse warrior, release, reach back. Exhale, breath, frame your foot. High to low push-up. Okay, we're doing one more, tutti fruttis. Let's do this. Inhale to up dog and exhale to down dog. Last one. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale to low lunge. Crescent moon, back bend. Airplane now. Capital T, arms. Land to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, airplaned arms right now. Good. Now, humble warrior. Bow your head. Reverse warrior, reach back on the inhale breath. Exhale, frame the foot, step back. Here we go, left side, upward facing dog. Bring us home strong. Let's do this. I'm counting on you. Lift the left leg up. Step it through. Drop that knee and reach to the sky, open the heart. Airplane arms now, fly. Bring it to capital T, pause. Vera 1, land arms up. Airplaned arms, interlace fingers. Humble warrior bow. Reverse warrior, lift and reach back. And exhale, come on home. High low push up. Inhale up dog, lift. Now exhale, give me 5 breaths here, please. Nice deep breaths. And don't cheat. I can see you cheating. Get back to down dog. You think I can see that? I've got this unique thing where it tells me if people are cheating. It's a new app called Yoga Cheaters app. I'm just joking. That's my $1 million idea. Yoga cheaters. You have to wear it on your body. Your breath is not deep enough. All right, give me 2 more breaths. All right, drop to your knees for just a moment and see if you can't keep your knees together while you push back. If that proves too much, then do whatever you need to so that you can come back and go to a child's pose. You can do a comfortable kneeling position. You can be on your back. Let's find about 5 more breaths and we'll get moving now for 1 more round. We're going to go a little deeper now. And I'm just going to hold you as we approach just a few postures on the right and the left sides here. And then I'll bring you back to equilibrium. All right, so take a few moments here to return to your breath, just like we did at the beginning of the class when you were bored. Stop reading. Now you're like, can you read that again? Start from the beginning. So I'll start from the second one. There's nothing wrong with this. Most things in life need a protective container in order to grow. We can hurt ourselves, though, when we keep the fruit that is us covered too long. We can go bad and we can begin to spoil within, even if we stay enclosed in old plans. Once who we are inside has matured. Perhaps when we change careers or relationships, we are trying to free ourselves of all that has covered us, even if it has helped us grow. So the brain kind of rattles like a pinball a bit. But this, but this, but this. Although we may have to come to realize that it may be our way of loving that needs to be shed, and not who or what we care for. The most humbling part of this is that though we need to make plans and work towards goals and imagine possible futures, none of it can prepare us for the moment that we ripen. You see, once the soul fills out like mature fruit, all of our fantasies and our ambitions and our deep complaints turn to useless skin. Once ripe, once able to feel compassion and joy, all forms of sacrifice and postponement for the future begin to make us decay inside. Like the silk that keeps the corn shiny, all our delicate dreams of tomorrow have served their purpose when the heart pops like a kernel. So let's come back up to tabletop. And once you get into tabletop, we'll find our way back into downward facing dog. So we're going right back to the beginning. We'll do a couple familiar places where we've been and see if you'd like to layer on a couple deeper additional layers that may be more challenging, maybe not deeper, just more challenging to balance. And then when you decide to get there, if you feel like you went too far, that's your edge. Sometimes we fall over our edge. It's okay, because we do it in life all the time. Remember that one time you did that thing just the other day? Yeah, so we fall over the edge. But you know what? We have today to get right back there again. So once you get back to down dog, we're going to refigure out where our edge is. If you fall over it, you just get back and you go back to where you thought you fell, and you try to kind of linger there. The right leg will come all the way up to the sky. Inhale your breath. Exhale, place the foot between the hands into a low lunge. Feet hip width apart will be more manageable. Feet stacked one in front of the other is more challenging. Bring the arms up to the sky, crescent lunge. So I am not on my back heel. My back heel is up, my arms are framed. We're going to lean forward just enough that my arms can drop down. This left arm or the leg that's behind you goes under the top arm or the leg that's in front. Now bend both elbows so you come back towards your body. At this point, if you're real tight, you might have to stop and just grab your shoulders. Try to bring the backs of the hands to touch. Maybe you stay there. Can you take your right hand and slide it in front of the left one? Eventually they make a prayer, but it takes a while oftentimes to get that far unless you have a lot of energy and you're very kind of bony in the upper body and flexible. It'll go in there pretty quickly. Then you push the right hand into the left hand and you lift the elbows up to about right between the shoulders. Now your goal is to lift the elbows as high as you can, the sky being the deepest position, while bringing your back knee down towards the mat, just to where a hover is and it holds you solid. So you want that left knee not to straighten out to come into the back bend. You want to keep it down, but the elbows will slowly lift up. Now, as you're here, remember where the gaze was? It's where the fingers are pointing. So feel free to follow your fingers back as far as it makes sense. My suggestion is to not go too quickly, to use your next 4 breaths, 5 breaths, to see if you can't just maintain where you're at and maybe a tad bit deeper than trying to shove so much forward at once. So as you're here, finding that delicate balance between effort and surrender. Squeeze the thighs together. Imagine a gigantic beach ball that you're holding onto in place. You just don't want it to slide away, and you've caught it between your thighs in this position. So as you're there and lifting up, you'll take your last 2 breaths. Eventually, your elbows will go to the sky. Don't force anything. It's not as easy to breathe here. Now, on the next exhale, hinge forward. Good. Now take a couple seconds to just kind of catch your breath. You can always land back here if you need to. I'm going to scoot back just because I want to make sure you can see my arms. All right, so you're in that lunge. Now, you can lift up, and as you lift up, the back leg should come up. The elbows will go forward. If you can unhook them, they go into steeple grip over the ears. My arms are lined up with the ears, squeezing in. The left hip is coming down, and it's not easy because to get balance, the left hip comes up. The left hip should go lower than you feel it should to be in a true state of balance. I'll see if I can get there for you. So the left hip's lower and the back toe is pointed. This feels about right, but it's kind of hard to say. It looked about right, and then I fell out. Last 2, can you stay wherever you are? Good news coming here after this, because all you have to do is on that next breath, bring your feet together and bring your arms up. So once you get your feet together, arms up, pause. Ooh, take a couple breaths. Now leave your left arm up. Bring your right elbow into your waist. Palm should be faced up. Bend the right knee, same one as your bent elbow. Drop the hand back. I'm not going to turn my wrist on this one because then that would prevent me from doing anything at all. This would be awful, actually. So I'm holding a tray like you're probably serving your children. Here you go. All right, bend your knees because they can't make it to the kitchen watching their video games at the same time. All right, reach back, grab the inside of the foot, and then bring the knees together or as close as you can. So we start there. If that's impossible, you grab what you can. But you don't kick. Just stay here trying to get the hips framed. It's hard enough. If the knees are together, then we're going to lift through the upper body and then kick the right knee up and away. So I really want to stay in this back bend for as long as I can kicking before we hinge at the hip and reach. Otherwise, you could do this back bend with no back bend at all. I've seen it in Hatha Yoga or Bikram. They don't really do a back bend here. They do more of a standing splits with a reach forward. This one you can do a little bit more of a back bend if you want, if you focus on the right leg kicking into the hand. They're a little different. You're going to feel a little deeper into your back. Then when you get to that space where the toe is just not going to lift any higher, maybe hinge forward. The real trick, I think, is reaching as hard as you're kicking. Most of us are so focused on the kick and forget the reach is going to help us too. So let's stay here now and breathe, trying to get that right hip down for 3. Now listen for what's going to happen next too. We're going to bring our right knee towards our heart. Eventually you're going to have to let the right knee go. If you fall out, you just bring it up. And then the knee comes up. I'm going to grab that knee and then bring the other hand in. So I'm stacked here. If you need to come out for a second, just set the foot down. Usually when the leg straightens out, it gives you enough of a break so the blood's flowing through that hip. You're not really in your back right now. All right, so from here, we're going to slowly just hinge forward. I'm going to hinge, hinge, hinge. There's a couple to get in here. This is one of them. And walk the hands down the foot, seeing if you can grab the bottom of the foot, hooking the thumbs and interlacing the fingers. Try to lower your right knee down so that's lined up with your hip more and your heel is underneath that knee. It looks lower than it should from your perspective in the mirror. If anybody has their left leg, the standing leg that's straight, you can kick. But if your standing leg is bending, you're just fooling yourself. I'm sorry. It's just an illusion. You're going to have to back up and figure out how to straighten your leg. So kick away all you want, but you're really in your back. So this is what it'll look like when you cheat. This leg is bent and you're like this. Yeah, that's no bueno. You want that leg straight and then the body strong. There's nothing grounded there. You're like on like a house of cards. It feels like it's going to come down. So you don't have to master this. You could be right here. So take your last breath here. I'll get us out of here. And then just slowly back out. When you do, set the foot down and drop your fingers to the mat. So this is called Padastasana, and this will bring us home. It's hands to feet pose, but it's the hot yoga, the hatha yoga style. So just maybe a couple squats, and notice if you've got crackles. And then we're going to see how the belly's on the thighs here. We want them to kind of stay there so that when you lift your hips up, your belly's right on your thighs. And then knees bend them a lot. You'll straighten them out later. Lift up the heels, scoop the hands underneath. We're trying to get the elbows behind the calf muscles. That's the trick. So if you can't get under the feet, just bring your elbows behind the calf muscles and grab whatever you can. That's what we're looking for. So that way we can pull the belly to the thighs. We can pull the chest down on top of the knees. We can bring our face right into the shins and the crown of our head right down to the tops of the feet. Then as the elbows pull back and you pull up into the heel, your belly draws down and the weight will move forward. And as you do that, this synergistic stretch starts to straighten the legs out more and more. Whether they straighten or not, I don't even care. Mine hardly ever do. This is the one thing I feel changes all the time. The hamstrings are telling you what's happening in your core and your hips. So to force those guys open every single day, all you're going to ask for is an injury. You're going to feel it really at the connective site, pulling away from the bone. That kind of sciatica sucks. It's hard to get rid of. All right, now stay here. Take the last couple breaths. If you're like, that's me, oh my God, then bend your knees. Never lock them out when you're stretching your hamstrings. That way you can stretch more at the meat in the center of the muscle versus pulling it where it connects to the bone. That just hurts thinking about it. Now slowly release those hands out. Pause for a second. Inhale, look up. Now open up your toes, then open up your heels, then open up your toes and cup a squat. All right, so your heels and your toes are down, hopefully. Let's unhook my nipples from this. All right, now this is, you can bring your hands on the floor. If this hurts, just go back knees together, the one you did before. I'm going to go into a balance here. So it's easy, hands to heart, I'm pushing the knees open. Oh, and it's a nice place to kind of reach. I want you to notice this seat here. For those of you that are in it and you're like, this is oddly comfortable. I like, no joke, I was the weird lady at the airport. I'm probably on someone's phone and they sent it to their friend at the airport. Not quite. This looks a little weird, but in a squat, you can do this really deep squat and it's super neutral if you have to be in a position where you're sitting for long periods of time. And if you're like me, it's very difficult to do that. So the recipe for a crazy fast mind is to slow down and breathe. Feel now the neck and the shoulders. And as you push your knees open, can you feel them melt like an ice cream cone? Just the stress just moving on. All right, now friends, let's move into our next breath here. Just open those knees a little bit more. Forward fold this next, hands to the mat, bring your toes in. Good, my feet are still wide. It just feels good. Your hands can be on the floor, your knees can be bent a lot, not much. It's all good. And then from here, just simply walk your hands up and then slide your feet back, downward facing dog. As you get into downward facing dog, reestablish that grounding sensation with the palms spread out, the fingers, push the tail up, push the hip bones back. Sharp V, tail lifting towards the sky, belly muscles pulling in, shoulders back, crown of your head towards your thumbs. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Bring it up smooth, strong. Exhale, low lunge, drag it through. Set the foot between the hands. Now from here, rise, crescent lunge. Remember the feet stacked or hip width apart. I'm going to go stacked. So stack's going to be a little harder, and I might have to go hip width on this like that. That was, I think about it. So think like I'm on a curb walking, which is hard to do if you're walking a curb. I'm super balanced, and even I get on there, I'm like, wow, it's the fear of your falling. Now imagine a tight rope. Okay, so that's the distance of your feet. So stacked is going to be a little more challenging for you to keep your thighs together and your body to stay grounded. So we're pushing in more obstacles for you to not ground so that you have to work harder to ground. It's the whole purpose of yoga. So the whole purpose is you show up and you can't do any of it. That's the whole idea. And you start doing more and more. And then we start throwing more stuff at you to challenge it. And that's where tricks come in. And then people think they have to do all those tricks. No, it's just the natural progression of yoga. And as you're reaching here, right, reaching through the sky, you're going to bring your arms down. And you're going to take the right arm under the left arm, as tight as you can. Bend the elbows back so they're back by your face, and then take the right hand in front of the left. Maybe the hands are together, maybe you're at the same when you were at the other side. So stop when it spoke to you. Eventually the hands in a prayer, eventually they turn to line up, elbows between the shoulders, right knee down towards a hover. Now let's move towards the back bend. The elbows are going to come up. We're moving in this one a little quicker, so it will feel a little bit shorter. Now, when you feel the stretch on the right thigh, if you can bring your knee closer to the mat, it's going to give that thigh and the hip flexor, the psoas, very nice long stretch. It's very tight in there, but this one doesn't present pain. It simply will shorten the relationship in there, and it could cause the hamstrings and the lower back and the hip to all tighten. So you might be like, oh, my hamstrings are always tight. Well, maybe it's the hip flexor. Maybe the glutes are just weak and the hip flexor is really tight. Boom, short hamstring. So let's bring that knee forward. Let's see if we can stretch it out. If you're having trouble balance, that's what your body is showing you. Be there with your breath. Now you should be in some sort of a back bend. It's super difficult for me to talk when doing this. So be in some sort of a back bend, even if it's barely a little. If you're super good at this, close your eyes because that'll fix it. Now let's take these last few breaths now. On the next exhale, bring your elbows towards your ribs. Straighten your back leg out to get some blood to go into that hip flexor. You'll feel it. Your left glute, your thigh, it all really kind of started to pick up, all right? This is my not so happy leg, so we're just going to see what this looks like on my side. All right, stay here as one. Move to your tiptoe two. Lift up and straighten this leg out. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to probably do this one on this side. The right hip is going to come down, and it's okay. All right, the right hip is going to come down. The arms are going to come out. Good, capital T. Then if you can lift your thumbs to the sky. Beautiful, Virabhadrasana 3. Now, Vira 3 is super challenging because as soon as those arms come up, if you don't have the strength in your core and your back to keep you straight, then the back starts to absorb that weight. And then it rounds. So the arms are not at the ears. The leg is not up at the back. It's a round, saggy mess. You're better dropping, lifting, arms and staying, or flying in a capital T, or arms behind you where it's easier to bring the hip down. Last 3. Any variation here? See, this one's best for me too. Now, take a moment, bring your feet together. 1. Arms over the head. We're all together. Standing bow, left elbow to your waist, palm to the sky. Bend the knee. Don't dump your tray when you reach back to grab the foot. Knees together, grab your pant, whatever you can. And if you're doing a whatever you can pose, hold here. To go into the bow, reach back with the left knee, kick the foot into the hand, lift the foot. One day the foot will pop up over the head. Reach through the arms right in the middle of the forehead or the eyes. And now let's breathe. 5. See, this side's easier because my right leg is the one that's holding me here. On the other side, my left leg could not hold me very good. And because of that, I couldn't ground. Without grounding, you cannot fly. It's all about equilibrium, and you can't cheat and skip steps. Take your last couple breaths. We're going to try to stand back up. Whenever you're ready, take your time. And then I'm going to lift the knee up and grab it with that hand. Bring the other hand in and interlace the fingers. Shoulders back. I can feel free to stay here. Another way to get into it is not to hinge forward first, but to bring the hands under the ball of the foot. Once there, lower the foot so it lines up with the inside of your right knee. Once the knee is in line with the hip, work on straightening your right leg. If the right leg is straight, kick the left leg through. See, I won't straighten my left leg all the way up because it doesn't feel right. But the shoulders are back, belly's on the thigh, and you're breathing for 4, 3, come on, 2, now 1. Back out the way you went in. Set the foot down. Uttanasana, fold. Bend the knees if you need to. Shake it out, bend the knees back and forth. Couple squats if you'd like. Bend the knees enough to bring the belly to the thighs. Scoop up the heels from behind, Padahastasana. Pull up into the heel, roll the elbows back, drop the head and neck, and bring the forehead to the shins. 5. Belly on your thigh. Pull up into the heels, roll the shoulders back. 3. 2. And 1. Release your fingers out. Pause here, please. Beautiful. Now open up your toes and open up your heels. Open up your toes and lower into garland. It's also called frog. Open up the knees, shoulders back, hands to heart if you wish, and it feels good. Let's take 4 breaths here. Push the heart to meet your thumbs. Now get a little taller if you can. As we move into these last couple breaths, we're going to bring our hands to the mat and slowly bring our toes in. Step back, drop the knee, step back, drop the knee, and then open your knees up. Now open up the feet so the tops of the feet are behind the knee, and then sit back between your heels. If you cannot sit comfortably, grab something to either sit on underneath you like a towel or a pillow, or you can place weight into your hands, which are located on the outsides of your ankles or heels. So lifting up in the hands or sliding something under. If you can sit down onto the floor and you're not in excruciating pain, you'll move on. If you're down, but you're like, ooh, I better stay here, stay put. The only a minimum requirement is you should have your tail flat against the floor here before layering back the next layer. So my butt's down, so I'm gonna layer up. Let me go back to my elbows. If you're on your elbows and you think you could make it to your shoulders, that would be the next layer. Arms over the head, grabbing opposite elbows or reaching behind you. Knees drawing down and together until one day you bring the knees to touch. Let's take 5 breaths. You should be close to that last breath or two here. So as we're approaching, we're going to bring our hands to our heels for anybody that's all the way down. Use your elbows and press yourself up, and then slide a hand back and push yourself all the way up. Good. Now when you get there, let's go into tabletop position, and then bring the knees back to do that. Lightly tap your feet, tuck the toes when you're ready, and step back to down dog. Once you get to down dog, we're not staying. Lift your right leg up, inhale your breath, pigeon, slide the right knee towards your right baby finger where it is, so that your right heel is more in front of your left hip. Slide your left knee back. Remember, try to get grounded first. We're doing a baby back bend, lift the heart, and exhale to a passive pigeon. If you can, you just come down a little bit lower to the mat. So as you're coming down a little closer to the mat, you might come down to your elbows. You might come down to your forearms. You might stay where you're at. You might stack your fist, place the forehead on the top fist for a neutral neck and spine relationship. If it's a little deeper, the neutral spine is all the way down to stacked palms. You don't want this where your head is coming down here. You want the head up so that the shoulders and the neck and the back are all together. So the most humbling part of all of this is that though we need to make plans and work towards goals and imagine possible futures, none of it can prepare us for the moment that we ripen. And once the soul fills out like mature fruit, all of our fantasies, ambitions, and deep complaints turn to useless skin. All right, left side, tuck the toes, step back, downward facing dog. As soon as your right leg will hold you, lift your left leg up. That is how your body recovers. If it takes longer to recover, it gives you an idea on the energy pathways and blood flow and how quickly they can restore. Once the knee is outside the baby finger, your right knee slides back. You're in a baby back bend to establish balance. And then we come down elbow to elbow. So we're forward and even on both sides. Not leaning to either direction. We're just simply allowing that glute and outer thigh to outer hip to open and coming down to whatever familiar position we were just at. Come back to your breathing. And once the soul fills out like mature fruit, All of our fantasies, ambitions, and deep complaints turn to useless skin. Once right, once able to feel compassion and joy, all forms of sacrifice and postponement for the future begin to make us decay inside. Like the silks that keep the corn shiny, all our delicate dreams of tomorrow have served their purpose when the heart pops like a kernel. Let's take another 3 deep breaths. Come back to your hands. Tuck the right toes, step back to high plank. So I'm just going to slide my left leg back and I'm going to push up and just lower to your belly. Come all the way down. Good. Now, when you get there, bend your right knee and see if you can reach back and grab the foot. So just like we did when we were standing, but now we're just laying on our bellies. Same thing, left leg. Bend the left knee. See if you can reach back. Some people use a towel or a strap or your robe belt to help you, or a belt. Squeeze the bum, push the hips down into the floor. Peel the chest up, peel the knees up, and let's just start together in this hovering position. On the inhale breath, peel the chest higher. And on the exhale breath, kick your feet into your hands. And we'll do that again. Inhale breath, lift your heart. Exhale, kick into your hands and hold. 4. Pull your head towards the back of your toes. 3. Stay calm. Feel the light, shoulders and neck. 2. On 1, come down. Place the right ear against the floor and let your arms release to your side body. Push the right ear into the floor with just enough pressure that you feel the neck get a stretch. We're going to do that pose 1 more time and we're done. So your gaze is to just notice which way you're looking. That's the most important. That way that you're looking, bend that knee. And then if I said left, you're going to bend the left knee. If you happen to go right, bend the right. Now get the other one and bring your gaze forward. Walk your knees in. Maybe you can get them a little closer. With your heart lifted and your knees lifted off the mat, take a breath in, lift your chest. Exhale, kick your feet. Feel free to repeat that process as many times as you need to, finding the deepest position for you to hold. Try to push your heart forward. Try to kick into both hands and then have faith that you will be fine. 3, 2, and on the last breath, the opposite ear to the mat. I won't be able to do that with this mic here. So your left ear or opposite ear to the mat, your arms at your side body with just enough pressure in that ear that you feel the side of your neck get a nice, beautiful stretch. You feel your heart beating into the floor, but with your deep breath, you feel it coming down. Tabletop, bring your chin back to center, hands next to chest, and press up into all 4s. Walk your knees forward as you cross your ankles. As you cross your ankles, plow. We're going to roll to our backs, legs up the wall. And then if you wish to advance, lift your hips up and push the arms into the floor. I'm not going to do that one. It's been triggering lots of bad headaches for me. All right, so as you go back, I have a lot of jazz in my neck. Let's just leave it that way. So as you come back, just thank God for yoga. That's all I can say. Thank God for yoga. If I had not had that and been in this accident, I don't even think I'd be moving. All right, so now you're here. Your hands are either on your back supporting it because you're in plow, or you're in legs up the wall, which is pushing the knees and the heels into an imaginary wall while bearing down with your tailbone. And it's a good stretch. I feel this. This is actually plenty deep for me. You'll take 2 to 3 more breaths. For those of you in plow, the legs are pretty straight. The toes are on the floor. If they're not, you really should support your back until that happens. You would support it every time. All right, now slowly coming back by rolling back towards your tail. We're both going to bend knees so that we're back together, and then the knees just come into our armpits. Release the left leg long and grab the right knee. Bring your chin down and then move the knee to the armpit crease. As it moves to the armpit crease, lengthen the left calf muscle and press the left leg into the mat to keep that balance. Just an easy twist here. Bring the knee over to the left, your gaze to the right, right shoulder down just for a few moments. That's it, just a nice reach to that arm. And let's come back to wind, remove and rain both knees up for a moment, just a moment. Release the right leg, interlace opposite thumb around the left knee, draw it into your armpit, elbows and chin down. Take another couple breaths here, roll the shoulders back. Feel that nice compression at the hip. Next exhale breath, release the left arm out, palm down, and gently draw the knee to the right. Gazes to the left, no need to go deep, shoulders grounded. I'm just sending a signal up these gigantic pathways through the chakras, lining them back up for your Shavasana. And as we bring our knees back to the center, no deep work, we did plenty deep already. As you bring your knees to the center, let's simply give ourselves the biggest hug we can. Feet, knees side by side, forward to the knees, holding for 3. Squeeze a little bit harder, take a breath in, 2. And as you exhale, Shavasana, dead body posture or corpse pose. The arms simply lengthen out to the sides. The arms, as they fall out, palms are faced out, the toes fall out. You can do the chakra lines if you'd like. That would be great too, as you connect more towards the energy within. It's either event, the eyes are closed, and you're finding your way into the slow and deep breath. It's super calming. You feel super achieved. You feel really proud of yourself for getting up, for joining in, for doing this. It's one of the most fulfilling experiences you can get because it really truly does nurture your soul. So as that speaks to you with nothing but a feeling, allow that feeling to emerge around you in the shadow of Shavasana. Begin to notice the center of your chest with just the mind's eye. Envision a flower beginning to bud open. If you are familiar with the lotus flower, imagine the multiple layers of the lotus flower opening upon itself. Completely stay as you are. Since none of us can control or time the ripening of our sweetness, we can only try not to define ourselves by all that covers us, even if it has helped us grow. In this way, we can strive hard and long, wanting to be the sun itself, only to ripen and burst with our little bit of sun exactly where we are. So dream as you will, plan to build your version of the pyramids, scheme to make and spend several fortunes. For nothing matters but the sweetness incubated in our dreams and sufferings. Finally brought to air. Bring your awareness back towards your body. As you bring your awareness to your body and feel the breath moving through you so easy, allow the tips of the fingers to come together and just brush. Feel your toes wiggling around. This is your body, this one, not the one you started with. So feel more like this. This is what I mean by checking in, assimilating our life, seeing what we need, moving forward with effort, and then noticing what no longer serves, and letting it shed, even if it seems painful. And as your fingers begin to just rub together and your toes begin to wiggle around, feel your wrists and your ankles beginning to awaken, feel your knees bend. Draw your knees to your heart. As your knees come up, feel your knees pull wide, gently roll side to side. As you're rolling side to side, feel free to drop to one side and make your way up, or just rock forward to back. As you're rocking forward to back, build up enough momentum to join me. Join me and bring your hands to your heart. And as you bring your hands to your heart, join me in any comfortable seat. Bring your heart forward. Let your shoulders melt back. Let the lesson be clear. Seek out opportunities to draw your heart forward. And it starts with yourself. You can't go out to others until it's begun to you, for you treat the world how you see and treat yourself. As you gather this compassion, this truth in your hands, bring the thumbs bounds to meet your forehead, Anja, the ceiling of our growth. May we continue this inquiry, this growth into our enlightened path and help us reach towards God. And as we exhale humbly to earth, may compassion show us the way. From my heart to yours, namaste, friends. I know you all said that. Namaste. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining today. That was an amazing class. I felt your guys' energy. I can't tell you how much it means to me to see you guys are here with me. It's the absolute world. So thank you so very much. I also want to thank you, those of you that have donated to the studio, and those of you that continue to pay your monthly dues. You are donating to us by not stopping your membership. So although I wish I could just freeze everybody's membership in order for us to survive, that's simply not the case. So that's your option. If you can't support us, I completely understand, and we will go ahead and stop that membership for you. It's not a problem. So know that that's available too for my members. For my non-members that maybe moved away, if you are inclined to do so and like to keep these classes going, you can make a small donation to Venmo. We're also going to launch a video subscription, so you could join the video subscription and you can always have access then to videos no matter what. We've been working that out for the past year anyway. It's all kind of coming together anyway. So those are some of the ways that you can help us. I am helping the world by simply offering this free to everybody. So I'm not asking anybody to actually pay unless you can help and would like to keep this kind of rolling. Just FYI, I have to pay as though I'm open. So my overhead is pretty big in this big, gigantic studio of mine. This is only one room. I've got a whole nother size of this on the other side, and it's all just sitting empty, and I have to keep paying for it. So as you know, that's what we're faced with. And even if we just have to keep paying for this regardless. So we're gonna figure it out, but I just want you to know that this is a free offering too. So there's a lot of people out there that are literally like just trying to get food on the table. You know what I mean? And I've always felt it. I'm like, it really sucks because, yoga costs more because, you're always having a teacher guiding you through, and the cost to run a business like that versus a gym is very, very different. And yet it's those trying times when we're freaking down on our ass, we got no money in our bank account, and we quite frankly are really unsure of the future. That's when you need your yoga practice. That's when it becomes so important and so imperative that we come together and that we unite and then we pull this energy together and that we're to go, you know what, friend, I am here for you. Just like you guys are here for me, I'm here for you, and it comes together. We are together. We're so united. And honestly, this seems scary. What a blessing, right? How many of you have found like a silver lining? I see it every day in so many things. Yes, I'm inconvenienced. Yes, this sucks. No, I don't want anybody to die. No, I don't want anybody to get sick. But look at what's happening, because that's what we need to stay focused on. So I just want to say thank you very much. You guys, happy Sunday. This is a very special Sunday for me as well. 17 years ago today, I got married. And miraculously, that man is still in my life. And it's quite a day. So we're going to go out. It's a big storm coming in here in Huntington Beach. So, and everybody is quarantined anyway. So we might as well just cuddle up and stay by the fire and watch some more Netflix. And actually, you know what I wanted to do today? I said, I want just my family and a big puzzle. We're going to get a big puzzle and just put a puzzle together. And that's it. It's so simple. And it was the one thing that I wanted. That was it, to do a puzzle. And so thank you to my husband who got me a puzzle today, and donuts and a bunch of other stuff that I don't need, quite frankly. Yes, but there's a vegan donut place called the Donuttery, for those of you that live locally. And if you're like, oh yeah, I know that place. They make 2 gigantic sheet trays of vegan donuts every single day. They're open 24 hours, even during this madness, because imagine, there's a need for donuts. So I think the donut's flourishing. I think that we have all of the alcohol stores. What are those like? I can't figure it out. Like Fast Marts and all the booze is flourishing, you know, and everybody's buying all that stuff. So I just commend you all for joining me today. And I just want to say, maybe seek out and think of interesting ways that we can come together, and you can come together with your family, and you can help spread those ideas. And instead of going on the news and counting every single compromised immune system person that got sick and start panicking with fear, let's find the silver lining in this and come together as humans being once again. Forget politics, forget all of the things that segregate us and make us feel divided, because all those things work against us. We are one. We come together as one, and it's times like these that we truly, truly can see that truth. So just as always, I love you guys so much. I enjoy so much bringing these classes to you. I truly, truly love what I do. I am just so grateful that I get to teach yoga. And I got to say, a lot of things in my life has led me to this. And in it, I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much of you that helped me to continue to bring this to you. And anybody's got any feedback or questions, leave it. And I'd leave you with that. Happy Sunday, everybody. I love you guys. 4-5, the date, 4-5. All right, you guys, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe. I love you guys all very much. Mwah. Bye, everyone. Peace out.